Hello viewers, welcome to another video. Hope you enjoy it, and if you do, hit the like button or I might just share your Wi-Fi password with the entire neighborhood. Our story begins on a quiet street at night, a lone street lamp glowing brighter than everything around it. A black-haired kid sits beneath it, surrounded by large bags of garbage. The kid looks like he has lost all meaning in life, almost as if he has nowhere left to belong, maybe even homeless. We see another man walking down the same street, looking up at the sky and quietly enjoying its beauty. The man notices the kid sitting alone on the street. The night is completely tranquil, no chatter, no barking dogs, not even a single cricket chirping. It feels like the first night after the world was born, before animals were ever created. The man steps closer to the kid and stands beside him. He kneels down, wakes him gently, and asks if the world has knocked him down, a question the kid clearly does not understand, and honestly, who wouldn't be confused after being woken up like that? But the man continues and tells the kid he has good news for him. He smiles as brightly as he can and says that all the stars shining in the dark sky are shining just for the kid. The scene suddenly shifts to a gym, where we see a man punching a heavy bag and skipping rope. We see two people sparring in the ring, and the white-haired kid lands a beautiful jab on his opponent, and thank God the opponent is wearing headgear, or this would have ended right there. The entire gym watches the sparring match, everyone quietly admiring the white-haired kid's skill. They say the coach claimed the two in the ring were friends, but after those punches, no one believes friends should hit each other like that. You see, this coach is trying to train one last boxer, and everyone is surprised he's in their gym searching for talent. We see the coach, an old, grumpy-looking man, his hair whitened by age, yet his eyes have not lost their sharp gleam. He may be old in years, but his body is still in perfect condition, and people know him as K, the man who trained 5 world boxing champions. Meanwhile, the other coach, who owns the gym, calls everyone out and tells them to stop staring and get back to practice. Meanwhile, the match continues, and the white-haired kid in the blue corner lands another punch straight to his opponent's face. His opponent tries to counterattack, but his punch is effortlessly dodged by the kid in the blue corner. The red corner goes for a right hook, but the blue corner kid avoids that too, and at this point he's starting to look like the Ben Whittaker of the Manhwa world. And here it comes, a powerful punch from the blue corner. Again, straight to the face, and yeah, this might be it for the guy in the red corner. Coach K stands outside the ring, watching everything unfold, not blinking even once, because who would blink while witnessing art like this? The guy in the red corner crashes to the ground after taking that final punch. The gym owner explains that the blue corner fighter is Baeksun Ryu, the kid he told Coach K about, and says Ryu has been coming to the gym regularly for the past 2 weeks. Ryu remains standing in the ring, smirking at the opponent he just defeated, while the guy in the red corner curses him and struggles back to his feet. That turns out to be a terrible decision, because he immediately eats 3 more punches from Ryu. Coach K notices that Ryu is clearly toying with his opponent, but that makes it difficult for him to properly judge Ryu's true abilities. So Coach K asks for Ryu to be matched against the strongest boxer in the gym. The other coach is shocked and asks if he really means the strongest. And there he is, the strongest boxer, towering over Ryu, almost double his height and weight, stepping forward as he's called for the spar. The gym owner says he's excited to see this match, but suggests Ryu should face someone closer to his weight class, especially since the other boxer is currently ranked 3rd in the super middleweight class in the entire country. But Ryu doesn't seem bothered at all, just standing calmly in the ring, waiting for Steel to step in. Steel approaches the coach and asks if he's the one being called, and yeah, the guy is dark, tall, bald, and covered in tattoos, looking like he walked straight out of a Mike Tyson poster. While the gym owner explains the situation to Steel, his eyes land on Kay standing nearby, and Steel has a full fangirl moment, unable to believe who he's seeing. As Steel enters the ring, the gym owner asks him not to go too hard on Ryu, and Steel agrees. Ryu starts warming up as well, and Coach K prepares to observe another match. Steel asks Ryu if he's not going to wear headgear, just in case he hits him too hard by accident. Ryu casually replies that it would only mess up his hair, and besides, he loves the thrill that comes with it. Both fighters take their positions. Steel declares he's going to wipe that cocky smile off Ryu's face, and Ryu calmly tells him to try. With a fist bump, Steel in the red corner and Ryu in the blue, the match begins. Everyone in the gym stops their training and gathers around to witness this unbelievable spar. Steel keeps his guard up, but Ryu drops his completely and starts swaying, and at this point it looks like he watched One Piece last night and is trying to use Gum Gum's space out like Luffy. The crowd yells at him, calling him insane for dropping his guard, while another guy mocks him, asking if he's watched too many movies. But the gym owner just smiles, because he knows Ryu is about to reveal his true colors. We see bloodied fists, and the owner-coach recalls the day he first saw Ryu in action. The entire street had been filled with goons beaten to a pulp, and the one responsible was none other than Ryu, while the owner-coach watched it all unfold. We return to the ring and see Ryu asking the crowd if this isn't all boxing really is, moving to your own rhythm. As he speaks, a punch comes flying at him, but Ryu manages to dodge it cleanly. He immediately counters with his own punch, landing it squarely on Steel's face. The entire gym falls silent, every jaw dropping at once. Even the world-class Coach K watches with sharpened intensity. But Steel, true to his name, doesn't seem bothered at all, brushing it off as if the punch was nothing. Steel throws a fake left hook, and Ryu shifts behind him to dodge. That's exactly what Steel wanted, as he uses his reach and fires a powerful right jab. Ryu sees it coming at bullet train speed and desperately tries to raise his guard in time. But Steel wasn't aiming for the face, driving the punch straight into Ryu's abdomen. Ryu falls in slow motion toward the ground, but his back never touches it, as he barely avoids disaster by bending backward at the last second, and Kei notices this and calls him gifted, a moment that would look unreal in an anime. As Ryu recovers, Steel goes in for another attack, but Ryu dodges again. Look at the faces around them, people watching Ryu bend impossibly low and slip away, witnessing something they've never seen before. The owner-coach notices it too, smiling at Ryu's creative movement. But Ryu calmly compliments Steel, saying he can't believe anyone could stay standing after taking the punch he threw. Steel returns the compliment, saying he now understands the reason behind Ryu's cocky smile, acknowledging his talent. Ryu is clearly flattered and responds that Steel is too kind to say that. Meanwhile, Steel thinks to himself how he never imagined this kid could be this skilled at boxing. Steel resets his stance and declares that it's time to get serious. In a single step, he closes the distance and throws a left hook straight at Ryu's face. It's a terrifying punch, but it misses as Ryu jumps back just in time. In the very next instant, Steel dashes forward again and throws a right hook. Ryu sidesteps the trajectory perfectly and avoids it once more. He counters immediately with a punch of his own. Steel sees Ryu throwing a jab and raises his guard. But Ryu is too fast, canceling the jab mid-motion and snapping a left hook straight into Steel's chin. Everyone in the gym freezes, mouths wide open, as they realize they're witnessing one of the most intense spars they've seen in years. Steel himself struggles to comprehend what just happened. The owner-coach watches in awe, admitting he never knew Ryu possessed skills like this. Ryu follows up that left hook with a right hook, which again lands cleanly on Steel's chin. Steel tries to counter, but fails as Ryu dodges effortlessly. Ryu shifts his position again and moves behind Steel. As Steel turns to throw another punch, he's met with Ryu's fist slamming straight into his face. Steel is clearly struggling now, admitting that Ryu is far more than just fast. We see Steel having trouble even locating Ryu as he moves with unreal speed. Steel is completely on the back foot, unable to deal with Ryu's movement. Another punch lands squarely on his face, and Steel wonders just who the hell this kid really is. Coach K continues watching with absolute focus, shocked by Ryu's flexibility. He breaks down Ryu's abilities, explaining that his flexibility allows him to dodge attacks from impossible angles. At the same time, it lets him counterattack while unloading punch after punch. Ryu's greatest strength is that his movement is unrestricted, allowing him to dodge from any angle. That freedom lets him strike from places his opponents would never expect. And honestly, the old man knows exactly what he's talking about, because training 5 world-class champions tends to do that. Steel isn't down yet and forces himself to focus, trying to catch Ryu. To him, it feels like Ryu is sitting atop a massive mountain he can't climb. But Steel still has one advantage: Ryu lacks experience, and we see Ryu backed into a corner with nowhere left to dodge. And here comes Steel's punch, reflected clearly in Ryu's eyes, as he realizes he has no way to escape this attack. We see Ryu knocked out by that punch, all the aura he just built completely gone in an instant. Coach K calmly observes Ryu, while the gym owner yells at Steel, reminding him he told him to go easy. As the owner-coach keeps shouting, Steel sinks into his own thoughts, realizing that if this fight hadn't been inside a ring, he would have lost. People begin leaving the gym after practice, and everyone is talking about the same thing: how Steel struggled against Ryu. The gym owner asks the world-class Coach K what he thinks about Ryu. K says the kid definitely has what it takes to become a champion. He explains that some of Ryu's moves are flashy and inefficient, but fans love that kind of thing, meaning the kid even has star potential, and the owner-coach agrees. K reflects that he planned to check out other gyms, but now that won't be necessary. Suddenly, they hear a commotion outside the building and look out the window to see what's happening. 3 guys are bullying a lone kid, and one of them tells the guy holding him by the collar to just kill him already. This enrages the gym owner, and he's about to shout at them, but Kay stops him and tells him to wait. We see the bullied kid's face, black hair and lifeless eyes, and realize he's the same kid sitting on the street from the beginning. Another punch lands on the kid from one of the bullies. But this shocks Kay, because he notices something strange in the movement of the kid's eyes. The gym owner says he's going down there and yells at the bullies to stop it, but they tell him to leave unless he wants to get beaten too. In the next scene, we see one of the bullies kneeling on the ground while the coach mocks him. The owner-coach punishes all 3 bullies, lecturing them about what he used to do at their age, while Kay walks over to the bullied kid and stops him from leaving. Kay asks the kid why he didn't dodge their punches. The kid looks at the old man, confused about why he's saying that to him. Kay explains that he watched how they were punching him, and if the kid wanted to, he could have easily dodged them, which makes the bullies furious that their punches are being called worthless. The kid calmly gives his reason, saying he simply couldn't be bothered. He says that, and walks away as if nothing happened. The bullies shout that he deserved it for not respecting his seniors, and the coach snaps back, asking what punks like them know about respect. Kay keeps watching the kid walk away, deciding to trust his intuition. He prepares to throw a punch at the kid, briefly wondering if he might be wrong and if the kid could lose his life from it. But he reminds himself that he has lived his entire life trusting his instincts, and he steps closer to the kid. He calls out to him, and the kid hears it. The kid turns around to face the old man, K. At this point it feels like the old man has lost his mind, as he throws a brutal punch straight at the already beaten kid. We see the punch flying toward him, and the kid dodges it. With a single step backward, he avoids the punch completely, and thank God for that, because it really looked like attempted murder for a second. The gym owner is completely confused by Kay's actions and yells at him to stop. But the old man just stares straight into the kid's eyes, and asks him if he's willing to learn boxing. The kid asks the old man in return if boxing is fun. He clarifies that he means hitting people. Is it fun? The old man looks at the kid with deadly seriousness. He asks what the kid thinks, saying the answer should be obvious. He asks if the kid really believes those dirtbags beat him out of respect for their elders. With a grim smile, the old man answers the question himself, saying of course it's fun, you hit people because it feels good. He says humans are weak creatures starving for meaning in their lives. And nothing is simpler than fists. Just like in nature, brute force is the easiest way to assert dominance, and it's exhilarating. People go wild for that thrill, for that raw display of strength. He asks the kid if he's human too, and if he is, what his worth really is, how far he can go, and how high he can climb. The old man continues, telling him to spread his wings and fly straight toward the sun, even if it burns him to ashes. To crush his enemies beneath his heels. With a dangerous gleam in his eyes, he says that is what it truly means to be alive. He tells the kid to watch carefully. He begins demonstrating his stance and basic boxing techniques to the kid. He explains that this is the 1-2 punch. He tells the kid that he has exactly 1 month. The kid starts walking home, but the old man shouts that for 1 month he will be at this gym, and the kid should come see him when he's ready to begin. Kid keeps staring at the kid as he walks away, his gaze intense, while the gym owner wonders what's going on in his head. The scene shifts to school, where students are chatting loudly in the classroom. The black-haired kid sits quietly at his desk, detached from the noise. A blonde kid with glasses is kneeling in front of another student, like a textbook movie nerd. We see the same bullies from yesterday extorting $100 from him, calling him a good little J, and asking if he wants to hang out with girls from the all-girls high school. Someone tells Jay to sit up straighter. Then they ask about Ryu, turning their attention to him. Ryu casually says he can't hang out because he has boxing classes, all while sitting on Jay's back, like it's nothing. Another kid laughs and says there's always a bigger game for guys like Ryu, while Jay struggles just to bear his weight. We hear someone say Ryu is definitely going to become a champion, and others immediately agree. Jay and the other kid labeled as weak sit alone in the back, isolated. Meanwhile, Ryu, labeled as strong, is surrounded by people. We see Ryu hanging out with the bullies, clearly part of their group now, and no one seems to question it. As they leave, they smack the black-haired kid again, blaming him for getting them into trouble yesterday, while Ryu laughs about how his coach gave his friends a hard time. Before leaving, they pick Jay up too, saying things are boring without him. They head to a classroom to eat lunch together. Ryu slurps up his cup noodles loudly. He says there's nothing better than cup noodles for lunch. He asks Jay what he thinks. Jay nods nervously and agrees. Ryu tells Jay to dig in, then casually drops a bug into Jay's noodles. One of the guys asks if Jay doesn't have enough toppings, grabs his cup, and spits into it. Another guy pulls out the lollipop he was sucking on, and says it needs more flavor. He drops it into Jay's cup as well. Everyone laughs, telling Jay to eat it. They force him to finish it, fully aware of how disgusting it is. Jay eats it, but later throws it all up at the water fountain. During sports hour, everyone is playing football except the black-haired kid and Jay. We see Ryu receive a pass and score a goal, while others complain about it. Jay asks you why he isn't playing, saying he seemed pretty good during PE exams. Yu, the black-haired kid, replies that he finds it boring. Jay, being the nerd he is, asks you if there's anything he enjoys or wants to become. Yu thinks for a moment but stays silent, unable to find an answer. He remembers the old man's words, asking if he is human too. Yu shifts the question back to Jay and asks what he wants to become. Jay says he just wants to be like his dad, but doesn't explain what his dad does. Jay mentions he bought a new game yesterday and asks Yu if he wants to come try it. He says it would be nice to hang out after school, and while they're talking, Ryu notices them. Ryu suddenly kicks the ball straight toward them. As it's about to hit Jay, Yu steps in and catches it. Ryu starts walking toward them, and everyone knows what's coming. He walks right up to Yu and slaps him hard across the face. He grabs Yu by the hair and asks if he was just messing with Jay, demanding to know why Yu interfered. He asks Yu if he can't take a joke. He warns Yu that if he gets in the way again, he'll kill him. Yu stares back at him, his expression completely empty. Jay trembles in fear, trying desperately not to draw attention. The school bell rings, signaling the end of the day. Jay says he has something to do and leaves, leaving Yu behind. We see Jay at home, practicing punching motions all by himself. We see a cupboard filled with gloves, weights, and a skipping rope, making it look like Jay might secretly be a boxer. But it's not Jay's gear, it belongs to his father, and we see Jay training with him back when he was younger. Bro's father is a boxer, yet somehow Jay learned nothing from him, because right now he looks painfully weak. He sits alone in his room, silent and still, terrified of Ryu's haunting gaze. We see young Jay sitting in the front row of some kind of stadium, still trembling with fear. He remembers the time he was hanging out with the bullies. He still can't believe what he witnessed that day. Ryu had knocked out a guy much older than them and casually called it a piece of cake. While the bullies laughed and mocked the fallen guy, Jay just stood there, frozen, unable to move. Suddenly, the door to his house opens, snapping Jay back to reality. He steps out of his room, greets his father, and says he was just about to go to sleep. His dad has just returned from work, complaining about his shoulder, and Jay asks him about the days when he was a boxer. He asks his father what he did when he had to fight someone much stronger than himself. His father looks confused, wondering why Jay is suddenly asking this. He explains that as a pro, he had to fight stronger opponents regardless, and sometimes you simply have to do whatever it takes to win. But he admits there were times he was matched against terrifyingly strong opponents. Moments when fear froze him, even as a professional. Times when fear made him forget everything he had learned and turned him into a punching bag. He says he would instinctively throw wild punches, miss badly, and sometimes get knocked out because of it. But the moment you stay down, your career as a boxer is over. Even if you're beaten to a pulp, even if the crowd mocks you, even if there's nothing left you can do, as long as you can get to your knees, you can still stand. For the first time, we see courage and hope light up Jay's eyes as he looks at his father. But his father adds that he's only talking about boxing. He tells Jay that if he's done nothing wrong, he should run, otherwise he might get caught. He explains that courage in a boxer and courage in an ordinary person are two very different things. Jay thanks his dad and says he's going to bed. But he spends the entire night awake, thinking. It's nearly midnight, and someone is still walking outside. It's you, climbing a long set of stairs. We see Ryu already sitting at the top, saying he's been waiting for him. He says their homeroom teacher was kind enough to give him Yu's home address. While Ryu talks, Yu keeps walking and passes right by him. Ryu asks where Yu's manners are. He stands up and kicks Yu straight in the face. He asks Yu if he even knows how to throw a punch. He grabs Yu by the hair and pulls him close. He smashes his fist into Yu's face and says it looked like Yu knew how to fight earlier today, asking if he wants to fight right here and now. Yu doesn't respond at all, and that only angers Ryu more. He slams Yu's head into the ground and demands that he say something. But Yu stays silent, and Ryu declares that from now on, he's going to make Yu's life a living hell. He orders Yu to bring him $150 tomorrow, no excuses. He spits on Yu's lifeless face and walks away. Calling him a waste of time, Ryu heads home. Yu remains sitting there in the middle of the road for a long while. As Ryu walks away, a group of older guys steps into his path. They look much older than him, and one of them asks if he's Baeksun Ryu. He says he's here to see if Ryu is really as strong as people say. Ryu walks straight toward him, getting uncomfortably close, and then launches a punch straight into his face. The hit knocks him out in a single blow. Ryu looks at the rest of them with a wide grin, because they clearly picked the wrong guy. The other four shout at him to stop, calling him a jerk. Ryu doesn't stop. He knocks all of them down as well. One of them is bleeding from his nose, still conscious, staring at Ryu with pure terror in his eyes. Ryu enjoys the sight and says yes, that's the face he wanted to see. It's a beautiful new morning, and we're back at school once again. Jay sits in the back as usual, not interacting with anyone. The bully gang walks in, bragging about how great they feel after beating the crap out of some shitfaces. Jay panics, terrified they're coming for him again. But to his shock, they just walk past him without doing anything. Jay can't believe they actually left him alone. He looks to the side and notices Yu still hasn't arrived, thinking it's strange because Yu is never late. By evening, school is over, and the guys are casually discussing going to a PC bang after class. Jay can't understand what's happening. The bullies aren't bullying him, and Yu never came to school. He remembers one of them talking about feeling better after beating the crap out of that shitface. Jay wonders if they were talking about Yu, but tells himself there's no way. We see a locked storage room being opened as the bullies enter. Inside, Yu is sitting there, beaten up, and one of the bullies says this isn't a place to rest, mocking him for not bringing the money. They say they're about to give him an after-school lesson. One bully grabs you by the collar. A hooded bully holds him in place while another starts throwing punches. They beat him relentlessly, using him like a punching bag. The bully throwing punches comments that Yu's stance isn't even that bad. Ryu is sitting there too and casually tells him to pivot his hips more. Suddenly, Jay walks in and tells them to stop, saying this has gone far enough. All the bullies turn and stare at him. Jay starts trembling again, and honestly, it's shocking he even found the courage to step in. One of the bullies asks how dare he talk to them like that. Jay doesn't even understand why he did it, his heart pounding wildly. He realizes he crossed a line, his heartbeat racing faster and faster. He knows he's in deep trouble now, feels sick, thinks it's too late to apologize, and considers running away. But in the end, he decides it's too late to take back what he said. He tells himself to get a grip and not back down now. One of the bullies laughs, mocking him for shaking like a leaf. Jay steels himself, telling himself he's already gone through this in his head and he can do it. He raises his guard, his heart still racing, realizing this is the moment he's been waiting for. The bullies burst out laughing at him, mocking his boxing stance. Ryu wears a crazed smile, clearly interested in how this will play out. Yu watches too, still beaten and lying on the floor. Jay keeps repeating to himself to stay calm. One bully says they've been going too easy on Jay lately. Jay remembers all the times he copied his father during training. He lifts his front foot, steps in, and throws a jab with his left hand. The punch lands, but barely scratches the bully. Still, the bully freezes, stunned by what just happened. As the bully hesitates, Jay recalls his father's training. How to shift his weight forward and throw a right hand. And this time, the punch carries real power, slamming into the bully's face. The other two bullies stare in disbelief at what just happened. Jay can't believe it either. Blood starts flowing from the bully's nose, and the others laugh at him, asking what he's doing. The bald bully looks at his hand and sees the blood. He snaps in anger, calling Jay a piece of shit. But Jay is ready now, his guard up, confidence surging. The bald bully can't comprehend Jay's sudden confidence. Jay sidesteps, and the bully flinches, unable to act. The fear has completely vanished from Jay's face, his movements clearly showing he's no longer afraid. The bully who mocked Jay for trembling earlier is now shaking himself. He keeps cursing Jay, but he's frozen and can't move. Suddenly a hand lands on his shoulder, telling him to move aside. It's Ryu, warning him to step away unless he wants his ass kicked. Ryu smiles and asks Jay if he knows how to box. He leans forward with a grin, bringing his face right next to Jay's fists. Jay's heart starts pounding violently once again. One of the other bullies jokes that Jay cleared the tutorial and got sent straight to the boss level. Ryu keeps his face close to Jay's fists, smiling as he tells him to hit him, saying he wants to see what Jay is really made of. Ryu and Jay lock eyes. Boys, the real fight starts now. Jay grows extremely nervous but tells himself to stay calm and stick to the plan. He sidesteps again, knowing it's impossible to win on skill alone. While Jay desperately formulates a plan in his head, Ryu just stands there smiling, inviting him to try and land a hit. Jay tells himself he has to go fast and hit hard. He throws a jab straight at Ryu. He keeps throwing punch after punch, trying to corner him, hoping to land even a single hit by catching Ryu off guard, but Ryu effortlessly dodges everything. The other bullies watch in shock at the speed of Jay's punches. Jay thinks to himself that if he could just hit Ryu once, just once, but none of his punches land. Ryu keeps dodging and dodging, stepping closer and closer each time. Without throwing a single punch at first, Ryu mocks Jay, telling him that flailing his arms so fast will only make him tired, and that every punch needs to be accurate and bold. Like this. Ryu lands a clean hit on Jay's face, knocking him backward as strawberry jam starts pouring from his nose. That punch completely freezes Jay. Ryu steps closer and asks what's wrong, questioning why Jay suddenly froze. Ryu says he knows how badly Jay wants to beat him, so he tells him to show how hard he's really practiced. That reignites Jay's determination and he throws a right hook. But Ryu dodges it easily. Jay knows a counterattack is coming, but his body freezes again. Ryu snaps another jab straight into Jay's face, knocking his glasses off. Jay collapses to the ground, blood pouring from his nose. Fear is written all over his face as Ryu stands behind him, smiling. Ryu calls out to Jay, telling him to get up. He says he went easy on him and tells him to stop being such a wuss. The ginger bully mocks Jay, saying he knew Jay was no match for Ryu, unlike someone else, clearly hinting at the bald bully, who tells him to shut up. Ryu leans down near Jay's ear and asks if he's already thinking about giving up. But Jay's determination comes back. He remembers his father standing in the boxing ring, winning his fights. Jay starts pushing himself up, shocking all the bullies watching. Ryu smiles and says he's glad Jay stood back up, because it wouldn't be fun if it ended so quickly. Jay raises his guard again. Ryu says he likes the look in Jay's eyes. He says he'll give himself a handicap. He puts one fist behind his back and declares that round 2 has begun. Jay tells himself not to fall for Ryu's tricks, knowing that blocking a one-handed attack should be easier. Ryu asks Jay what he's waiting for and tells him to start already. As Jay hesitates, another punch slams into his face, so fast we don't even see it. Jay can't believe it, Ryu is breaking through his guard. He tells himself to tighten his defense and holds his stance. Not bad, Ryu says. Ryu starts throwing punch after punch, and Jay barely manages to block them. Ryu mocks him, telling him to endure it since he's already used to getting hit. Then, through Jay's guard, Ryu drives a brutal punch straight into his abdomen. Damn, that looked painful. Jay stumbles back, coughing and wheezing from the body shot. Ryu grins wildly and says this feels good. Jay struggles to breathe, thinking to himself that this is what a real fight feels like. Even so, he keeps his guard up and refuses to give up. Ryu reads his resolve clearly. He says he can play along with Jay a little longer. And throws another punch. Jay is hurting, but he never drops his guard. With every hit, Jay keeps sliding backward. Ryu smashes a left hook straight into Jay's liver, all while fighting with just one hand. The 3 idiot bullies keep watching as Jay is getting absolutely destroyed. Jay, still holding his guard, notices that Ryu has stopped moving. Ryu steadies himself, preparing to land another punch. Jay thinks to himself that Ryu is taking a risk, trying to knock him out in one blow. He realizes the motion will be big, needing extra momentum for such a heavy hit. Jay tells himself this is the perfect moment. He dashes toward Ryu with all the speed he has. And throws a punch, thinking he only needs this one shot. Really, has bro learned nothing yet? He finds Ryu standing right in front of him. Jay throws an uppercut, but just like in the sparring match earlier, Ryu uses his flexibility to dodge it at the last second. And with all that built-up momentum, Ryu unleashes a brutal punch straight into Jay's face. We see Jay's father fighting in a boxing ring, getting punched again and again. Young Jay sits in the front row, watching the match. Even after taking all those hits, his father keeps standing, and at the perfect moment, dodges and launches a counterattack. Young Jay watches in awe as his father wins. Now his father works as a laborer, weights heavy on his shoulders. After retirement, he does manual labor at a construction site, looking out at the city as he works. We return to the present fight, Jay completely bruised and beaten, as Ryu grabs him by the collar. Ryu throws another punch straight into Jay's face, blood splashing everywhere. The other bullies stare in disbelief, one of them thinking Jay might actually be dead. Ryu's twisted smile never fades as he looks down at Jay on the ground. Jay wonders why the world is spinning. He lies there knocked out. But he refuses to give up, telling himself he has to ride this out. Lying on the ground, he thinks that if he can just hold on, Ryu will eventually get tired, and that will be his chance. He believes that when that moment comes, he'll hit Ryu with everything he has. Ryu asks Jay if that's really his plan. Jay is shocked that Ryu saw right through him. Ryu mocks him, saying Jay is so pathetic for coming up with such an obvious plan. But once again, the image of his father flashes through Jay's mind. He grits his teeth and forces himself up from the ground. He throws another punch at Ryu, but Ryu dodges it effortlessly and counters with another jab. Ryu grabs Jay by the collar again. He stretches his arm back as far as it can go and slaps him hard across the face. Ryu says Jay isn't bad for a loser and that he'll leave him alone from now on, as long as Jay stays in his lane. But just as Ryu turns to leave, Jay tells him to wait. Jay stands up again and says he's not done yet. Bro, let it go, just train more and come back. Do you have a death wish or something? The three idiots comment that Jay has some guts, acting tough like this isn't going to get him killed. Yu is still sitting there, bruised and broken. Man, I forgot he even existed. The demotivated sack can't even feel bad for him. The moment Jay says he's not done, Ryu closes the distance in a single dash and throws another punch at Jay. Surprise, surprise, it lands again, sending even more blood pouring from Jay's nose. Ryu angrily asks if he didn't warn Jay not to step out of line. Ryu moves in close again and asks if Jay really thought he could beat him. Jay speaks with every bit of strength he has left, saying he never once thought he could beat Ryu. Not even for a moment did he believe that. Ryu is confused, unable to understand why Jay kept fighting. Jay tells him he's an idiot for not getting it. He says he's not the old Jay anymore, that he's already won. He says he never wanted to be the toughest guy on the street. He looks straight at Ryu and declares that he's going to become a boxer. That statement enrages Ryu, and he curses Jay again. He starts hammering Jay with punch after punch, asking if this is the weak crap he's talking about. He grabs Jay by the collar and screams into his face, cursing him even more. And someone asks Ryu if this is fun. Ryu turns around, asking who the hell just said that. The three idiot bullies also look back, confused. It's you finally standing up. He asks if hitting people? Is it fun? Damn, what a story, guys. Unfortunately, this is where it ends. The manhwa has no more chapters, and the story is either unfinished or finished depending on how you look at it, but honestly, I would have loved more. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, smash the like button and share it with your friends. Peace.